Just left Ariel. Oh my god. You want to talk about a guy that's made it? That dude made whatever this is work. Whatever this thing called MMA, and don't forget, he didn't start in MMA. He started in no holds barred. No one knew what that was. It was illegal everywhere. He pops in with a college degree. He's an actual journalist. And he made it work, and now he's working at a Yahoo. Oh my, this building was beautiful. At any rate, I digress. So I just left Ariel. And we had a conversation, and I felt that he was annoyed with me, and it had to do with the bullet and Weili. And I just brought you guys a piece a couple of days ago. Maybe I put it on my podcast. I don't know if I brought it to you guys or if I did it for the podcast. But I said, listen, the bullet and Weili are getting ready to fight. This is my job. I don't ever miss. I have meetings, I have Zooms, I get emails, I get pamphlets, I get text messages. There's a lot of reading to do, right? I don't expect you guys to give it credit. It looks like a cool thing. You're standing there watching the fights. I fully understand. Behind the scenes, there's a lot to do, and I do it. I don't ever miss. If I'm sick, I'm on those Zoom calls. I've been in the hospital before. I'm on the call. I don't miss. And then that's before you get the pamphlets. That's before you get the reading. That's before you get the text messages. That's before you get... I did not know that Weili and the Bullet are fighting this weekend until last week. Last week is when I found out. Now, I worked at ESPN, was it two weeks ago? If I'm wrong, it was 3. And I'll leave the names out that I worked with, but it was public, and I worked with them. And Mackenzie Dern is getting ready to fight for the belt. And she's fighting for this vacated belt because Weili left, and Weili left because there's this huge super fight with Weili and the Bullet. And I'm working with people. I'm on the set of sports, and I even say to them, I go, we're supposed to believe that this is some kind of a super fight? They haven't even announced it. Nobody even has any idea what venue, what location, or what date the Bullet and Weili are going to fight. We're supposed to believe it's a super fight. That was 2 weeks ago. It was already announced. I said this on SportsCenter. Nobody corrected me. Not only did they not correct me, they agreed with me. So now why I'm telling you that I didn't know they were fighting, neither did they. Okay, now, but here's the thing. And so Ariel took that as me putting them down. I'm not putting them down. I think Weili's fantastic. The Bullet might be the best ever. I realize when you do women, you have to say Amanda. But there's a couple of ways to look at best ever, right? And one of them is just, all right, who's the best ever? Then you give your answer. But then let me ask you it again. Okay, if you were one of them, you got a magic wand and you can have the career of who you just said is the best ever, or who you said was the second or third best ever. So in this case, you said Amanda was the best ever. You're confident. But now I'm asking you a little bit different question. If you could have one of their careers, and we could definitely agree that you would choose to have the better career. And I say, well, you between Amanda and the Bullet. All of a sudden, Amanda's not your answer. Because it was shorter. Right? The Bullet just for longevity, just for more memories, just for more experiences. Just that alone. I'm not putting her in front of Amanda. I'm sharing with you that she's so great that we could have an argument that she's in front of Amanda. That's all I'm saying. I praise the Bullet. And I praise Weili. And Ariel was irritated with me, thinking that I was putting them down. It's like, no, you're hearing me wrong. I'm not saying this fight isn't worth knowing. I'm not saying this fight doesn't deserve to... Guys, I got to turn this. My producer, Ryan, is going to hear a TV in the background and lose his mind on me. All right, I've turned it down. So, I'm not saying any of that. I'm not putting it down at all. I'm rather engaged in the fight, and I'm rather looking forward to that fight. That's completely different than me not knowing there was a fight. Whose fault is that? I read everything. I am on every call. I found out last week that they're fighting. That's a fact. There's nothing fun. There's nothing even meant to be mean about it. It's not mean. I'm excited. It's a piece of good news. Why did I not know? If this is a super fight, why didn't I know? If I watched Dern fight for the vacated title, how come at no point during the broadcast where Dern was fighting for the title was it ever revealed that Weili, who vacated the title, would be fighting 2 weeks later in Madison Square Garden? Or was it? And I'm wrong, and I missed it. Did that happen? Because again, when Ariel got mad at me, I'm not putting someone down. I'm making a comment. Now it does lead to something bigger. Okay, the bullet has a record, and it is unlikely to ever be broken in my lifetime. What do I got left, guy? I got 50 years left? I've already been here 50. Nobody's touched it. So if I get another 50, just on the laws of logic, that would not... Right, the bullet isn't just the leader for the most title fights in non-main events. She has quadruple the most title fights in non-main event. And I knew this number. I'm just going to throw numbers at you, and they're not exact, but it's to prove a point. The most any athlete has ever fought for a title in a non-main event is twice. No other champion in history has ever had to defend or fight for or contest a world title in a non-main event more than twice. She's done it 10 times. So 5 times more than the next closest thing to her. Now the problem with that is it's actually quadruple. So my 2 and 10 don't work, but make it 3 and 12, but it's quadruple. She's got 4 times more than anybody. I mean, when I tell you that it is very unlikely that this record will ever be touched, and another reason it'll never be touched is because nobody wants it. Nobody's trying to get it. Now, I don't tell you that the bullet did anything wrong here. Very marketable young lady. Got a very interesting story. Allegedly, the president of her home country supports her and follows her. I mean, that's what Ilia Toporia's got. I mean, he's got this whole country of Spain behind him, including the prime minister. You got Khabib. Khabib's got everything, including Putin, behind him. So why is she fighting in co-main events? Why is she fighting in a fight that I didn't know she was fighting in? How is it possible? Now, this came up with Ariel, and Ariel was a little irritated with me, but I just pled in my case. And he didn't call me a jerk or something, but he was a little irritated with me. And I said, well, Ariel, you run the biggest show in sports, in our sport. Have you ever mentioned it? He said, no. I said, well, you run the biggest show in sports or in our sport. Did you have Weili on to talk about it? He said, no. I said, well, Ariel, you run the biggest show in sports, or at least in our sport. Did you have the bullet on to talk about it? He said, no. So, well, I look forward to it. Well, I think that's a great contest. Well, I think a lot of history is going to be reflected based on this contest. I just learned about it, and I only have one question. It's not a put down. It's not even a trick question. Whose fault is it that I didn't know? And when I talked to the sports biggest reporter earlier today, he thought it was mine. And then he revealed that he never discussed it. So I come back to my original premise. The bullet is going to fight Weili. and I didn't know. I represent all of you. That means you didn't know. You didn't know. Whose fault is that?